Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel as well. And Pro Wrestling Logic, we've got over 1,600 audios, nearly 1,700 now, probably into 1,700 at least this week, if not in the next few days. But ultimately, we move into the All-Star Wrestling Review for May 6, 1978. And we've got Dusty Rhodes sitting down with Vince McMahon. Dusty talking about how there's magic everywhere he goes. Black and white sitting together, green and yellow sitting together. Everybody living the dream. He doesn't care who he fights, whether it's Spiros Arion, Superstar Billy Graham, or any point in between. He's Bob Backlund. He's amazed at some of the talent that's here. He's amazed at the ability to help you live your dream. And when he is in the ring, he makes himself happy and makes you happy by default. Really a passionate promo. I saw a debate in a couple of online groups that, in fact, maybe there's and this interview, for the record, is done in an empty arena, and it's there, but maybe this could be one of Dusty's better promos because it's not as hyped nearly as the Hard Times promo from the 80s or other Dusty promos. This is understated. Dusty is passionate, he's well-spoken, but he's also kind of laid back here, and it's just interesting from that perspective. Then we move into Haystacks Calhoun and Larry Zbyszko. What an interesting tandem that is against Bill Dixon and Moose Monroe. 6:29 when Zbyszko pins Dixon after sending him into a shoulder block from Calhoun, who's on the apron. I mean, Haystacks Calhoun, many fans from this generation and the last, if you're not a fan of the 70s and before, then you're undervalued of Haystacks Calhoun in terms of kind of the nature of that. Zbyszko being alongside Calhoun is interesting in the sense that for the process that is and was here, Zbyszko being in that position of kind of being there to be a top baby face, but because he hasn't turned on Bruno yet. That comes in, I believe, 81. But anyway, him kind of being the technician in the match. Obviously, Haystacks Calhoun, Bill Calhoun, at one point, I believe, called Country Calhoun and Cowboy Calhoun in different territories. And he's been around since the 60s or so. But the idea that he would come in at a 600-pound, I believe, legitimately at different points in his career, 600 pounds, and kind of, belly bump a guy. Obviously, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks in the UK, inspired by Haystacks and doing that over there as a result of seeing Haystacks. We see Zbyszko, though, kind of tying his man up with head scissors. We kind of see that going all the way around, and the match itself is really basic. I mean, to be totally honest, it is Zbyszko who manages to wrestle the majority of the match. Punches, forearms, and kicks, and a shoulder block leads to the eventual victory for Haystacks and Larry. But it's just interesting. It's a deeper, at least to me, endorsement of Larry Zbyszko that he would be placed in there with a guy like a Haystacks Calhoun, in that Calhoun was kind of a touring attraction, almost like an Andre the Giant at the time. I remember legends of extended family members and friends of mine that I grew up with who, when they found out I was a wrestling fan as a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, they would talk about times in the 70s when Haystacks Calhoun came to the local county fair. I would actually love to find the results of that. But anyway, and kind of seeing him eat at a local buffet and bar in massive quantities, just hugely massive quantities. Anyway, we move on to a promo with Classy Freddie Blassie and Spiros Arion. Of course, Arion here through about 1979, maybe 80, but tying up his career in 1980. Blassie in a pinkish, kind of peachish outfit, banging the cane, talking about wanting to get his man a shot at Bob Backlund. Backlund, of course, winning the championship in February of same year, and kind of just really going around about not being given respect as a manager, not being offered all that opportunities. Arion, who manages to go quite a bit into that whole process. Spiros Arion defeats Gene Crepo via submission with an overhead backbreaker after the promo um, in about 4 minutes, 12 seconds. And again, Arion at the time, a bit of a brawler, obviously been brought in for Backlund to have a couple of matches with 2 or 3 around the horn in the major clubs, Boston Garden, Philly, and that. Actually interested because I hadn't seen Arion before, and I'd seen him before in some video, but never to the degree that the network has allowed me to kind of deep dive on him a little bit. And the enhancement match he's in, he does a lot of choking, he does a lot of cheating, he does a lot of trying to get under the skin of his opponent. A lot of punch kick, not a lot of heavy stuff, but he doesn't need to. And that's the thing, too. One punch you could sell for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then come back and do it again. Well, you've thrown 4 punches in a minute, as opposed to literally flying all over the place like current day wrestlers do. And I think it means a lot more. Would it hold up today? Probably not for the average fan, but at the same time, if there was a belief that something like the hanging backbreaker hurt, and the crowds were educated to things actually causing pain, and the belief was, does it actually cause pain? And you slow the fans down long enough to actually think that thought, you can certainly get more out of just about any move in professional wrestling at any time period. Anyway, we move forward into SD Jones fighting Tank Patton to a double count out 6:34 when both men are brawling on the arena floor. Tank Patton is a guy who's mainly done enhancement-related work. He's obviously the heel here. SD Jones been here through the early 70s and all of that. Jones obviously stays through the late 80s. I actually never got to see SD Jones. I think he retired the same year I became a fan, or maybe the year before, 88, 89, somewhere in there. I never got to see Jones on any house shows I went to, but I actually would have liked to now that I watch him, because I think he's really, especially his time on TNT, which is a show also covered on this channel, is enjoyable anyway. So we see Patton go with a bear hug. A referee tries to break that up because SD gets to the ropes eventually, shot in between the eyes, and tries to go at him. Not exactly the best of situations, Coco, but kind of like a guy like a Bobo Brazil would do, but it doesn't really lead anywhere too heavily. Then we go to the next match, Peter Maivia in an enhancement match. Maivia, who at the time kind of doing various things, including but not limited to tag team matches around the horn with Larry Zbyszko from time to time. Kind of interesting that they don't really seem to have a huge lineup for Zbyszko here in 78. He's continually working, obviously been brought in by Bruno and all of that. Punch to the top of the head, very basic stuff. 7, almost 8 minutes between these two. Maivia takes the man down with a leg trip. Maivia, of course, having the 3/4 body tattoos of a tribal nature. And again, Maivia with some headbutts, trying to get things going to the best of his ability. Takes the man down several times, kind of with the leg grapevines, kicking to the back of the leg, trying to keep on the back of the leg, even like an Indian deathlock sort of thing, but eventually winning with a backbreaker and getting the victory before we go on to the next event. So that is the review for right now. We'll be back with more right after this.